hope everybody's doing well, inshallah. Everybody's fine. So let us begin the lesson. Let me start share screen. So we were discussing about the food, right? The food particles. We were able to discuss about the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats. Now, today we are going to start with the vitamins and the minerals, or vitamins and minerals, as you like to say it. And we have one minute, please. Khaled, do you have a question? Yes.
Yes, Mr. My question is, from where do I find these PDFs? Because I want to write some notes in my paper, so next time when you ask me some questions, I can answer. So where could I find these PDFs?
Okay, I'll show you. If you see the canvas on the screen, can you see the canvas? Right?
Yes, I can see.
You read 7 sides. Once you enter into this, you're gonna find that there's week 3, and we are on lesson 1. That is the food. If I go inside that folder, I will be able to find the ebook. This is the PDF file. Then these are the 2 videos, and then this is the presentation,
Okay,
PPTX. Right?
thank you, Mr.
Okay, let's go back to the lesson. We have more people coming in. Sorry, Mr. Badawi. Mr. Badawi is trying to ask a question. Yes, you have
Assalamu
the mic.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Salam. I just want to ask, this week we're on week 3, right?
Yes, week 3.
Okay, yeah. You said lesson 1, right? Okay, we're بس يعني we will talk about this يعني we'll talk about يعني because I saw in the other module it was like يعني not food, it was like about animals or something. I don't know.
Yes. The lesson 1 means that day 1. Week 3, day 1, food. Since we were not able to finish this, we are finishing the presentation now. And then we will go to the second lesson, which is managing the variables. You'll be learning that how do we actually go through with the experiments, and how do we change our variables, what is a variable, and which are going to be kept as constant. So today's session is about that. And Sami is also raising a hand, so we give the mic to him. Yes, sir.
The lessons we don't write in the copybook. Why?
You have to write the copybook. Who says you don't have to write?
Because in the lessons, I don't know what I write in the copybook.
Because the lesson, what I'm explaining, you can make points, simple points, and what I'm explaining on the presentation, you can write that down with me. Either on the presentation, you can download the presentation, you can write with me on the presentation or on your copybook. It's your choice, as long as you understand.
Mister, you can when you write something, tell us this, write it in the copybook, because I am confused.
Okay, I'll tell you to write it down. Right?
Okay.
So let's move ahead and let's start. So we were able to do this. Now we're going to the vitamins and the minerals. So first thing, somebody who would like to read that out for me, who's going to read it? It's a simple text. There's nothing difficult, and I have been suggesting somebody to explain it back to me. Okay, so according to who raised the hand first, of the someone, you have the mic.
Okay, vitamins and minerals. You need vitamins and minerals in much smaller amounts than other nutrients. Vitamins help chemical reactions take place in your cells. Different foods contain different vitamins. The vitamins in fish and dairy products dissolve in fats, so you can store them until you need them. The ones in fruit and vegetables can't be stored, so you need to eat them regularly. Uh, there are minerals in your bones and teeth, in all your cells, and in all your body fluids. Some minerals provide strength, and others help cells to function properly.
Okay, so how can you summarize it, or you can explain in simple words? Or it was
Oh,
enough simple?
what?
Was it enough
Excuse me?
simple, or you have to explain, or you can explain, you can add something?
No, it's simple.
Simple? Okay,
Yes.
all right. Thank you very much. So I'll add a few points to it. The first thing he's mentioned in this paragraph has a sort of that vitamins are important for the chemical reactions happening inside our body. The chemical reactions could be breathing process, the respiration, oxygen going into the mitochondria, and glucose, so they react. Plus, when the muscles are utilizing that energy, so it's a chemical reaction. The food is digesting in our body, that's a chemical reaction. So vitamins are needed over here. And sometimes the vitamins can be stored and utilized when you need it, and sometimes they cannot be stored. They have to be regularly utilized on daily basis. In chat, I can't join the audio. So try to log in again. Maybe it will work because everybody is able to hear the audio. Yes. So some of the vitamins are stored in the fat. Whenever you need, they can be reproduced back, and some of them are not. So you have to take them regularly. One of the best examples we have is the minerals in the bones of the teeth. If you start having less minerals, and it's going to directly affect the teeth and the bones. Um, by using a lot of junk food these days, the kids have very weak bones, and if we are not keep them safe, if they fall off from stairs, it is quite natural for them to have broken bones, which was not that common about 40 years ago. You can't handle it. Okay, I'll write it down for you. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Fiber. Now, fiber is actually like it's constituted, it's an important nutrient. Like beans and lentils, they have good source of it. They are needed so that we can, pass out the stool properly. They are made up of large molecules. They cannot be digested, but they contain some of the minerals and vitamins of our food. So this helps us to pass through the digestive system quickly. So it prevents constipation. What is constipation? Everybody who knows constipation. I'm going to lower everybody's hand and I'm going to ask you a question now. Anybody who knows what's a constipation? Madavi knows, someone knows. So I'll give the mic to Madavi. Yes.
Yes, Mister. Constipation is when you can't poop and it's very hard to poop.
Exactly. You are not able
Yeah.
to pass out the stool. So that is why we need fibers in our food so that we can easily pass it out.
Fibers prevents constipation.
Exactly. Plus it has the water and it has the cell walls, so we can't digest it. So that's why it goes out of the body easily. So perfect answer. Good job. So let's go to the next slide. These are the important points that you need to remember. This is the division section. That the carbohydrates is for the energy, proteins we usually use for growth and repair. Fat is for insulation and making the cell membranes. Vitamins, we need them for the chemical reactions. Minerals for the growth of and aid to the cell activities, and also fiber to keep us healthy. Khalid, do you have a question, or we're trying to answer the previous question? You have a question? Okay, he doesn't have a question. So let's go to the last slide. These are the questions that you will be looking at and you have to answer them. What you need is a Word file. Write question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 simply and answer them. Whatever you think is right, we'll consider this at the end of the whole session when we are revising. Okay, Badawi has a question. Okay, Badawi, yes. Yasin.
Yeah, Mr. Do we have to write all of this? Because
This is available on the presentation, which I showed to Khalid as well. There is on the Canvas, it's available.
so we have to do a presentation.
No, this
Yeah,
presentation is downloadable, and you will be saving the answers onto yourself on a Word file. And once we will do the revision of the whole unit, we will discuss these questions.
Okay, but is this also in the ebook or not? I'm just
It's
asking.
also in the ebook. It's also
Okay. Great, thank you.
Yasin has a question. Yes, Yasin.
And Mister, this is a homework or what?
It's kind of a homework, but it's not officially homework. These questions will be discussed when we are revising the whole unit.
Okay,
Right,
and it's
so
not a homework?
you have to find the answers because I'll be asking you about these questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have to start today's lesson, which is about what do you call it? Managing variables. Let me see if you guys can see that screen. Managing variables. So by the word variable, we understand that it can change, right? We have somebody coming in. Okay. Hussein is here. So Hussein, now can you hear me? Is it audible? Am I audible to you? I hope so. So managing variables, what are we going to learn? That the food contains energy, number one. What in this lesson, we will find out what are calories, how to calculate the energy inside the food, different items, and how can I do an experiment to find out the energy inside this. What are variables in an experiment and how can they change the experiment results? How can I control them and measure and change the variables during the experiment or after the experiment? So this is the today's lesson's objective. Mohan, do you have a question? So I'll give you the mic. Where is Mohan? Where can you find the presentation? It's on the canvas. It's on the canvas in the modules, lesson week 3, lesson 1 and 2. We are on lesson 2 right now. Right? What is the title for this lesson? Managing variables. This is managing variables, lesson 2. Okay. So I'll show you a small video clip on this subject. Where did I put the link? Okay. Two managing variables. This one, controlled experiments. Be share that screen with you boys. This one. Can you hear the sound of this video as well? So let me share the sound.
Experiments. Me, Mark, and Molly. They were just given some plants. The only problem is that neither Mark nor Molly has a green thumb. In order to keep the plants healthy, Mark and Molly need to figure out how much water the plants need. Mark takes his plant and he places it in the window. Mark decides to give his plant 100 milliliters of water once a week. Molly hides her plant from Mark. She places it in the closet. There, she decides to water it with 100 milliliters of water 3 times a week. Mark's plant is green, tall, and healthy. Molly's is not looking so healthy. Mark concludes that it's better to water a plant once a week. Although Mark's plant is healthier, something in this comparison is not fair. If you remember, Mark's plant received sunlight while Molly's did not. To figure out how much water plants need, Mark and Molly needed to set up a controlled experiment. In this type of experiment, everything stays the same, except one variable. Both plants need to be planted in the same size pot, using the same type of soil and the same amount of soil. Each plant needs to be in the same temperature, and what Mark and Molly did not do was give each plant the same amount of sunlight. Then, one part of the experiment can be manipulated. In our example, the amount of water used to water the plants is the only difference between the two plants. This part of the experiment is called the independent variable. The results are different this time. Given equal amounts of sunlight, we see that the plant responded better to Molly's amount of water. To ensure accuracy of the experiment, Mark and Molly could repeat this a few times just to make sure they didn't make any mistakes. Controlled experiments are used in science all the time. Just remember to keep everything constant except one variable. Controlled experiments.
All right. So, do you guys understand from a control experiment what are the control experiments? You're changing one thing at a time. How many things were involved? There was a sunlight, there was a temperature, there was soil, and there was water. So I can easily say there were 4 or maybe 5 things: sunlight, temperature, water, soil. Yeah, 4 things. So I cannot change 4 things at the same time. I'm going to keep three as controlled and one as I'm going to change it. Okay, Alexander has now sound. All right, so this experiment has showed us that you can change one thing at one time. Variable should be changed only one, and the other variables should be kept constant so that we can have the right result. So we can know that the effect of the water or the effect of the sunlight is happening or it's not happening, right? How would you decide that which variable to change? You will go one by one. It's something that it goes with the hunch as well. So you have 4 variables. You can decide any one you want to choose. You can go one first. You can say, okay, I'm going to change the soil. Yes, you can do that. You wanted to change the temperature? Yes, you can do that. You can. It's up to you how you design your experiments. All right. There is no hard and fast rule which variable you have to change first. And Badawi is still playing around. Okay, so let's go to another small clip before we begin the lesson. Can you guys see this screen? Yes, it is visible, but the sound is on. Okay.
When scientists set up an experiment, the way that they test their hypothesis is by having a variable. And so let's just start off with an example hypothesis. Let's say that I think that my houseplant will grow more if I give it a half cup of energy drink every day. In my experiment, I will have one houseplant where nothing changes. So both of these houseplants will be exactly the same temperature and they'll get the same amount of sunlight, but there'll be one difference, and that is called a variable. And so this plant over here would be the variable group, and this plant over here will be the control group. And the one thing that we're going to change in this experiment is I'm going to see if giving my plant a half a cup of energy drink every day will make it grow more. So here's my energy drink can, and there's some energy drink. The energy drink that we are giving to this plant we would call the independent variable, because that's the variable that we're controlling. Independent. The independent variable.
All right. The boys, the points that he's mentioning, you can write them down if you are not sure. Like the variable is the one which we are able to change, so we call it independent variable. And you can see that he's keeping the temperature and the light as a constant. So which things are staying constant, they are written as controlled. And the one which we can change is called variable.
And the dependent variable in this case is the plant's growth. So let's just say growth. I'll switch colors here. All right, so the dependent variable
Okay. One of the students is asking that he doesn't understand. Okay, look at this experiment. You have plants, and our objective is to make them grow, right? What thing can I add to this plant which was going to make him grow? His idea, the boy who's doing this experiment, his idea is if I start giving them energy drinks, I think that will make the plants grow fast, right? This is what he's thinking. So what he's doing, he's keeping two things constant. He's keeping the temperature and the light constant. Okay, he's not going to change that. He's going to keep that. The title is on managing variables. We learn how to manage the variables. So instead of giving them water, I'm giving them energy drinks. I can give them one can. I can give them 2 cans a day, maybe 3 cans a day. That is variable. That is changing. I can give them half. I can give them 1 tablespoon. It's upon you how you design it. It's your choice. So something which is changing, and it is not directly depending on the experiment. It's called independent because you are deciding it. You are free. Independent means what? I'm free to do what I want. So independent variable, I'm free to choose. I'm going to put 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon, half a cup, full cup, as much as I want. Once a day, twice a day, thrice a day. It's my choice. Independent variable. And the dependent variable means it will depend on how much you give him the water or the sugary water or the energy drinks. So that will depend on it, how much fast it grows. Depending variable is depending on you, how you treat it, how much light you're giving, how much temperature you're giving, how much water you're giving. So that's how I'm going to grow according to it. So depending on it. So dependent variable in this one is growth, which is depending on how much energy drink you're going to give, right? Is it clear? So let's go back. Let's see how does it go. I didn't like.
Dependent variable is how much the plant is growing. Growth. All right, so there you have it. We have a control group where nothing has changed, a variable group where we're only changing one thing, the energy drink. The energy drink itself is called the independent variable because The independent variable is something that the scientist is controlling. And the dependent variable, how much the plant grows, is called the dependent variable because it depends on the independent variable or the energy drink.
So you guys want to do this experiment at home, you can do this. And I would, you know, I would say that do not use energy drinks. Use sugary water or salt water. Because energy drinks are like, it seems like, a little bit too much. So the first thing we're gonna see is about, I feel like it's a waste of soda. That I agree with you. That's why I'm saying that. And this is not appropriate. Just have water, simple water. What we did was with another school, we added paracetamol or Disprin in the water, and we had simple water, we had Disprin water, we had salt water. So we have 3 plants in 3 different places, and we did it like for 15 days. And we saw the results that which water is good. Is it full of salt? Is it full of sugar? Is it full of, is it with a little bit of paracetamol or the medicine, Panadol, anything like this? You can use any option you want. Oh yes, it does. Agreed. So, which food contains more energy? Now, sometimes you might find that when you buy a food, there's a label on it that it contains this much calories. The vegetables have less calories, the fruits have less calories, but when it comes to chocolates and soda drinks, they have a lot of calories in it. So, how do we actually find out that how much energy is there? So, what do we do is we take about a size of this food and we burn it. While we are burning it, the packed energy inside that food releases heat, and we see the temperature of it rising. So, what we do is we try to burn a molecule, not a molecule, 1 gram of food, and we see how much it can rise the temperature of water. If it rises 1 degree Celsius, then we say it has this much calories. If it rises 10 degrees or 20 or 30 or 40, the higher the temperature goes, the higher the calories it contains. So it is that simple. Electricity is fluctuating. Look at this. We take the initial temperature, like before we burn it, how much is the temperature? Let's say it was 45 degrees Celsius. After we burn it, it goes 38 degrees Celsius. So we find the differences in the two temperature, and when we, you have a question, yes, man, raise your hand, and I'll give you the mic. Okay, I have a, yes, ma'am.
Mister,
Yes.
so the independent variable is the changed variable, and the dependent
Yes.
is the same.
Exactly. Independent is the one which you can change. In this experiment, what is the independent variable?
Which experiment?
This one, can you see the slides?
Yeah.
We are putting some material and then we burn it. And then we note this temperature. First we note before burning it, and then we note it after burning it. So what is the independent variable in this experiment?
Independent, the one we burnt.
The one we burn. Yes, that is true. We can put a potato, we can put a chocolate, we can put a butter piece. So all these pieces which we're changing are independent variable. Excellent answer.
Mister, but I have another question. How I know which the highest temperature that
You will
the food?
experiment. You will
Okay.
experiment. You will find out yourself. You write it down that this piece that I burned gave the maximum amount of energy. It raised the maximum temperature. So we have other hands. Let me complete this, then I'll come to your questions. Because I'm afraid if we don't, we will not be able to finish this on time. How much time we have? We're left with only 10 minutes. So to compare the foods fairly, we are looking at the water's temperature effect that We are testing, and we keep the water volume equal. We don't change it. So this will be the controlled variable, right? Every time that we're going to choose the water, it's going to be 20 centimeter cube. If we increase that water, then it's not a fair test. For chocolate, you use 50. For carrots, you use 20. For apples, you use 20. So why chocolate 50? You have to keep the water equal for all the experiments, right? So let's go to the next point. Compare the foods fairly. That's the same slide actually, it's discussing the same thing. Checking the method. Okay. Now, who's going to read this? This is going to take time because this is actually an experiment done by a girl or a boy in Yala. I don't know if it's a boy or it's a girl. Let's say take it as a boy. So Al Hussein was raising a hand. There's a chat as well. Khalid says I can read. Okay. Khalid, you got the mic.
Yes, mister.
Yes, you wanted to read, let's read.
Yes. Enola was planning to compare the energy in foods. To check her method, she tested pieces of the same food with masses of 0.5 gram and 1 gram. She used a flame to set lit of them,
Light, to set
light of
light
them.
to them.
Then she used each piece of burning food to raise the temperature of the tube of water.
Right. So looking at the table, she took the bread and bread. She took the same thing. One is half gram, one is 1 gram. Starting temperatures were 20 and 20, and the ending temperatures is 50 and 80 degrees. What is the difference in the temperature? If it was half gram, that was 30, and if it was 1 gram, that is 60. So changing this, the size of the substance will change your results as well. So you have to make sure if you're going to compare it with different foods, you take 1 gram of each food. It could be butter, 1 gram butter. It could be 1 gram chocolate. It could be 1 gram uh, apple. So keep 1 gram fixed. If you change that gram, if you change the mass, your results will change. Look at the bread example. So the bread, if it was half, 30. If it was 1 gram, 60. So they can change even if the substance is the same. Yes, Khalid.
I continue.
Yes.
The burning food made a lot of smoke. She had to be careful not to burn herself because the appar- appar-
Apparatus.
apparatus got very hot. Inona was pleased with her results, though. The method seemed to work. When she doubled the mass of the bread, the temperature rise doubled.
Very good. So it is self-explanatory, inshallah. I don't think so anybody needs an explanation for this. Still, I'm lowering everybody's hand. If anybody is unable to understand this, now you can raise a hand. Anybody who is not clear about this before we move, Muhammad and Sami. Okay, Muhammad, what is your question?
Mister, I can't see the screen.
You can't see the screen?
Yeah.
Everybody else can see the screen. Please put your thumbs up. So, Muhammad, try to log in again. Log out and log in again. All right. So, Sami has a question. Yes, Sami?
Mister, you understand my question before. I was telling you to tell us what we write. You don't tell us to write anything.
The controlled variable, when the guy was writing, that was the writing part. Rest, everything is on the presentation. You don't have to write anything.
Okay, Mister, what is the title?
Managing variables.
You can write it.
I can write it. I'll go to the next slide and I'll write it for you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next slide. This one. Okay, so Mufti, Muhammad Mufti, you have the mic. Would you like to read the slide? Mufti, are you with us? Hold on, there's a guy coming in. Let me admit. This is the title, Sami, Managing Variables. Okay, do we have anybody in the... Okay. So Mufti is ready to read, so I'll give the mic to Mohammed.
Hello, Mr. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hold on. Sorry, Okay, so can you see the screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can you read the screen for us?
Okay. A better method. Although Anola's method worked, she noticed things she could improve. It took a long time to get pieces of wood with an exact mass. She had to keep cutting bits of them. Her, her
Her investigation.
investigation would be quicker if she didn't have to do that. There was another problem. The forest stopped burning before it was all gone. Anala changed her method slightly to overcome these problems. She measured the mass of each wood at the start and at the end. Then she worked out the difference to see how much wood had burnt.
All right, good. So thank you. I'll explain that to you. That she was having difficulty in making 1 gram each as well, right? She got something as 80 grams, and then she got more 10 grams, and the food wasn't properly burned. So what she did, she made up a formula that if I have like 2 grams of something, whatever the temperature will have, I'll be dividing it with 2, so it results with 1 gram. So it's a mathematical thing. Whatever you have the mass, just take it, burn it, and then divide it to find out for 1 gram, which will be more easier for you to do instead of cutting it and then making it 1 gram in reality. So if you have like 15 grams, you will mathematically divide it in such a way that it results for 1 gram. And I would like to see anybody coming up with this formula. So let's go to the next slide. This one is with Sami. Sami, would you like to read this?
Hello, mister.
Yes, hello.
Can go to drink water and come.
Okay. So you're not going to read this. You want to drink water and come. Okay, we have Al Hussein. Al Hussein, can I see your hand? So, Al Hussein Nouri, you have the mic. Okay. Yes, Al Hussein.
Noida
Yes.
realized that he could test any mass of food that fitted under the tube of water. Then she could calculate the temperature rise 1 gram of food cause. Temperature rise per gram, temperature rise divided mass food used.
This is the formula that you have to use, that the temperature rise per gram is equal to the temperature rise. Let's say it rise up to 50 degrees, and how much of the food was used. Was it used 30 grams or 40 grams or 100 grams? So you divide these two, you're going to find it for 1 gram. It's a simple mathematical calculation, right? And what is the time? 9:40 is the time. So boys, we are done with for today's lesson. This is the review session, the revision, and these are the questions which we will discuss when we will, revise this one. So we're stopping the recording.